Yup, another AtGames video. If they would just stop doing stuff, I could go on to the next thing. But they keep on doing stuff. Who would have thought? What? They keep doing stuff, and kinda cool stuff. So last week or earlier this week or whatever the heck, it's been such a frenzy. It's been like bleh, like all stuff all over the place. But earlier they gave us access to some core emulation software that allowed us to run Genesis games that we could bring ourselves. And now there's a core package to do MAME. All right, well, we should get right to it, right? So same USB as we used before, pretty much the same process, except they gave us a MAME 2003 core that we could work with here. And by using that core, we can then run MAME games. Now, keep in mind, this process is brand new, and there's some kinks in it, because not all games are gonna be supported. So I've started to kind of keep track of the ones that work and the ones that don't work. But I haven't gotten that far. But a couple of the ones I really wanted to play do work, and I was really surprised. So in some of the games, the core software on the AtGames works, so you can do your save states and loads and things like that. So kind of cool. But I'm gonna pop this in, and you'll see, you know, what we're gonna get. All right, so the AtGames is booted up. Putting in my USB stick. Again, we're gonna see that add-on folder pop up here. We're gonna navigate to that. And then you'll see I'll give you guys a closer look in a second. I've got Donkey Kong. I have Captain Commando. I put it on there because it's an example of one that doesn't work. Moonwalker, The Punisher, and X-Men. I love X-Men. Guys, X-Men in the arcade, that big gigantic cabinet, that freaking huge thing with, like, I don't know, I think it was 2 CRTs. I don't even know. That thing was amazing. But anyways, all those can be played on here. So there is one bug in the software right now, and actually I made AtGames aware of it, so they're gonna fix it. But if I populated this with the 5 games on the top and 5 games on the bottom, that fills a page. If I put more than those 10 games on here and I try to navigate over, the C button to page over doesn't work. So they're aware of it. So really today you could only put 10 of them on this screen, and then, you know, but they're about to fix it. So I was talking to the guys over there, they're gonna fix that soon. So I'll give you guys a closer look real quick and you can see the gameplay, but did I mention Donkey Kong? Yeah, I'm playing Donkey Kong on the AtGames cabinet. It's kind of cool. But anyways, I'll bring the camera down here so you can take a closer look. But it's pretty exciting stuff. Okay, so we're directly in front of the cab, and you can see exactly what I was talking about. Donkey Kong, Captain Commando, Moonwalker, Punisher, and X-Men. We're gonna start with X-Men, but I just want to let you know that Captain Commando does not work, and Donkey Kong, although it works, has some sound issues. So let's start with X-Men. I didn't see anything really particularly wrong with X-Men. It seemed to play great. And all of these that I've tested, the controls seem to map 100%. I didn't have to do any mapping, although the software does give you a chance to map it. So if you press start and right, it actually lets you map the controls the way you need to. If for some reason something's not mapping, but I haven't run into that issue yet. This MAME ROM takes a little bit longer than some of the other ones to boot. But there it is. So I'm gonna play Colossus because I like when he goes. I'll put the sound up a little bit. In the 21st century. But I didn't see any noticeable issues with this game. Seems to run really well. I didn't really notice any screen tearing or anything like that. It is using the MAME 2003 core, which is a pretty decent core. So most of the time, you know, it does have its own support. So the thing is, because right now I'm using MAME 2003, there are other cores that have a little bit more support. So the thing is, if this thing ends up supporting multiple cores, then you could have, you know, games that may not work in this core may work in other ones. And so that will be nice to be able to have that choice. I haven't messed with other ones to compile them, but I'm gonna leave in the description, a link to the core that I used here so you guys can just get it going. So I'll host it for you on a Dropbox. I love that. Okay, so that's X-Men. I want to show you real quick. I believe this is one of the games where the save states do not work. So if I go to the save state, I think it just ends up knocking me out. The scan filters do work, however, so if I do that and go back to the game, the scan line filter is actually on and applied, which you probably can't tell that well from the camera there, but it looks surprisingly good. So I'm gonna go and take the scan filter off. I'm gonna show you, if I go to save state, it's actually gonna knock me out of the game. It's not supported on that game. Anyways, all right, let's go over to Punisher next. Punisher is another one of those games. The buttons seem to map no problem for me, which is really cool, so I didn't have any issues with that. Sound emulation seems to be working great on this game too. So I know this one was just released on that, you know, the Marvel cab that 1UP just put out. It's actually a game that I didn't realize that not that many people played, and I actually don't remember playing it in the arcade, but how I got introduced to this game was it was on a Pandora's box, one of those 2-stick Pandora's boxes. I bought one, I don't know, maybe 3 years back or so, and it was on there, and I was like, wow, this game is really cool. It's surprisingly kind of violent, but it is the Punisher, so, you know, what do you expect? But anyway, sounds good. And if you haven't played this game before, it's a really, really cool side scroller. A lot of things in the environment are interactive, like you can pick this thing up, this barrel up, and you can throw it at dudes. Can't do anything with the dog, so, but whatever. He's got a special move. If you hit both action buttons, he does this little spin kick thing, and if you're actually holding next to someone, he'll pick them up and do it. So kind of cool. I also think that like the character sprites are really cool in this game. There's actually a lot of blood. Like I said, it's a fairly violent game. But anyway, it plays really well too. So that's two for two on the games. I think this one lets us do save states. Let's see. No, it does not. Okay, no save states on this one. So this one, you don't get that luxury. All right, let's go over to Moonwalker. I haven't had any problems. The scan lines seem to work on everything. Let's get going. If any of you didn't play this game in the arcade, this is a fun game to check out. It's one of my favorite arcade games of this era for sure. As you know, if you've played it before, the special move is you basically dance people to death, which is kind of cool. The objective of the game is to save children. And if those of you have watched my channel, you know I just did a collaboration with Tech Toy TV, and we actually looked at his arcade 1UP mod around this game, and it was really good. This one I think has some slight audio emulation problems, but it seems okay. There's no like screen tearing or anything weird that I'm catching on to, but yeah, again, pretty cool stuff. You know, the second players do work on these too, so if I go over to the second player, you can use the second player too. So far I've seen everything maps correctly for the games that I have that work and that are tested. So I'm gonna break out of this. I don't think this one does save states, but we'll check. Actually it does. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna move around. Let's see, I'm gonna move up here and we'll see if that save state resumes. Oh, that's not how you do, sorry. You go to save, and then you go to B for load. Yep, put us right back. There's also a rewind function, which is kind of interesting. So if you put the characters there, like say you're at a boss and you didn't beat them, you can rewind your game. It's pretty neat. So if the save state function works, usually the rewind function works too. I'm gonna break out of this one, and we'll go to, I'll show you Captain Commando. This won't work, so if I hit it, it'll go to a black screen and it'll just come back. So there you go. And last one is Donkey Kong. So like I said, Donkey Kong has some audio problems, but it does work, and its save state function does work as well. You'll notice that the sounds when Mario is running, they don't work. So, and again, I'm still in the early testing phases, so I'm sure over time I'll, you know, button things up a little bit. I'm gonna actually leave the instructions in the description of how to load the games on, at least from it, 'cause you'll have to refer back to my first video because that gave you the instructions of how to do it for Genesis. It's a little bit different, but fairly the same. Like I said, your mileage will vary though, so you're just gonna have to keep track of which games work and which ones don't. Okay guys, so I decided that it'd be easier to just show you. So basically you take your USB stick and you put it in just like you would any other USB stick. But what you're going to do here is you're going to navigate to the USB stick. And I actually created a test files for the video folder, and in that test file for this video, I have the box art, which is a PNG file. So keep in mind, you download the box art for whatever game you want. It's more likely going to be a JPEG, and then you got to convert it to PNG. But like I said, there's a bunch of websites that do that. You're going to need the MAME core, which this is the MAME 2003 Plus core, and you're going to need your game ROM. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to that same Windows add-on tool, and you're going to launch this up. Once it's on, you're going to give it a title. So this game's called The Punisher, so we're just going to put Punisher here. The box art, because I don't actually have it downloaded, I'm going to do that test box art file just so you see it there. So if I go to here, you're going to go to test files for video. That's the folder I named it. And there's my box art. So because it's a PNG file, it shows up. I'm actually going to call this Punisher. Well, it's fine. You can call it whatever you want. And then the emulator core, hit choose file. And there's my emulator core. So I'm going to actually give you guys a Dropbox link to this just so you don't have to search for it. And plus, you'd have to compile it and all that stuff. So here it is. It's all ready to go. Keep in mind, like I said, your mileage will vary with what games are going to be supported. For right now, that's the only core I have to work with. And then the game ROM is going to actually be... here's the one trick. So you're going to go to game ROM, and you're not going to see anything there because this tool defaults to bin files, which would be like typically the format you'd find on Sega Genesis titles. So we're going to have to do this drop down and hit any file, and now you'll see the Punisher pop up because it's actually a zip file, and then you hit open. At this point, it's going to allow you to build the package that's compatible with the AtGames Arcade. So you hit build package. Make sure you point this to your USB drive. Now, for me, I have to change this file name to Punisher 2 because there already is a Punisher there. I'm just doing it for purposes of this. And then you hit save. And now you'll see it'll build that package onto the USB. Now, the games I have showcased in the video, I all know work. I don't know about these other ones. So that's it, guys. It's that simple. You can then, once the package is built, take this thing out and stick it right in your USB slot on your AtGames Arcade. Okay, we'll go back to the regular video now. Ones don't. Ah, that was lame. I'm trying to play it through the camera, so there's a little bit of delay through the camera, so it doesn't work that well. Anyways, so that's what I wanted to show you guys for today. I want to show you that MAME absolutely works. You know, obviously it's early days for this, and it's all done via the USB stick. So I don't know if they're going to change that in the future, but that's how you do it right now. And the only core that I've used and tested is the MAME 2003 core. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Turn on notifications so you'll be informed of future updates. And guys, thanks for watching. I want to hear your comments, so please put them below. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.